It's 8 a.m. I am still awake, and the UFC 312 press conference just took place featuring Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland, Zhang Weili, and Tatiana Suarez, and they didn't really get up to much at this press conference that I stayed up all night for. Either way, it was somewhat fun. There were some moments back and forth. Dricus du Plessis out-trash-talked Sean Strickland again. Not as severely as the first time. I don't think he's going to be in tears about what Dricus had to say about him, but they did go back and forth, and Dricus, I guess, had the wittier comments than Strickland, and then Strickland just sort of spent the rest of the time having some kind of monologue for the people of Australia, ranting political stuff, talking about how Tatiana Suarez, don't get me wrong, you guys, she should be making a fucking sandwich, but she's a great fucking fighter. Let's go! He was doing a lot of, it's not as much for you guys anymore. He's noticed that he does that too much, so now it's to the fucking death! He's just screaming political stuff over and over again. That's what we come to expect from a Sean Strickland press conference. I'll go through the highlights of it right now. Dricus du Plessis immediately says, I thought I won the first fight, but, and he starts going off about how he thought he won the first fight, and the judges also thought that as well. And then the crowd actually booed him for saying that. So it was a very pro-Sean Strickland crowd. He was getting the cheers here. Strickland goes, "Let's fucking go, you fucking Dutchman!" And he starts screaming about how Dricus is a Dutchman. Even though it's a French name, it is what it is. They came over with the Dutch to South Africa. You know how it goes. So he's calling him the Dutchman over and over again until he kind of provokes a response. And then Strickland starts bigging up the crowd. "For you fucking guys, dude. And let's fucking go." And he starts screaming about how it reminds him of his white trash home, back home in California, wherever he was. And how he sees all these guys with mullets just walking around. He loves it. And he's massively sort of pandering to the Australian crowd, to call it what it is. That's what he was doing. And then Strickland, staph infection is glaring on his arm. His staph infection is right there on his arm. He has staph infection. Like, that is obvious. First, from the picture, you don't know if it's like, this is a cut, this is a popped spot, or some kind of mark that he's got. But at the press conference, you could blatantly see like a volcanic mountain peak of a staph-infected fucking zit on his arm. It was glaring at you the entire time. And then he started going off, "I like to teep and jab." And he starts screaming about what he's going to do to Dricus. And then Sean Strickland says that DDP fights like a tard on a short bus. "You fucking fight like a man on a fucking short bus, bro." Whatever he was saying. Going off about that. And then DDP says that Strickland, "You look like you could be the driver of the short bus." And then he says something about, "Actually, maybe not, because you wouldn't be allowed around kids with a mustache like that." I think that's what he said. Which kind of got Sean. And then Sean just started going off again about how he fights like he was on the short bus and screaming about that he's the Dutchman over and over again. Strickland just going off on a monologue again at a press conference, non-stop. Just doesn't take much to get Strickland going. So that was the only back and forth they even fucking had, really. You throw like a fucking tard on a short bus, man. And then you look like the fucking driver of a short bus. With that mustache, you probably wouldn't be allowed near the kids, though. So they started going off, and Strickland's mustache does look fucking weird. I don't know why he's doing it, but that's Strickland's prerogative, I guess. Suarez says she's the real main event, gets booed. Tatiana Suarez says, "Yeah, we're the fucking real main event." And then the crowd literally booed her for saying it. So Strickland starts stepping in to sort of be like, because he trains with Tatiana Suarez. So he starts stepping in to sort of rally the crowd behind her as well, and starts going off about how CCP China and China, the big bad China, and this fucking Chinese communist, and Tatiana's gonna fucking beat her ass. She's so good. So he starts like glazing Tatiana to win, to have her win over the crowd vicariously through him, which was kind of interesting, I guess. Sean promoting Tatiana. "I don't know how good she is at cooking, but she can fucking fight, man." So Tatiana is there, like, seriously trying to promote her fight. And Strickland is just bulldozing it, like, I don't know how good she is at cooking, but damn, this woman can fight. Just the most most backhanded way, because Tatiana at the end went on a speech about women empowerment and how, being a strong woman is feminine. We're going extinct. So that's what they're saying. And then, so she starts going off on that kind of speech, which was kind of interesting because Strickland had literally just got done saying about how, don't get me wrong, we love it when they make sandwiches, but they're going to put on a hell of a fight in the co-main event. It's just like Strickland was doing the bottom of the barrel, what's it called? Low-hanging fruit on, like, misogyny. It was fucking hilarious, though. So, that is misogyny. They're good at making sandwiches. People are good at different things. So he's going off about that. I don't know how good she is at cooking, but damn, this girl can fight. Li Jingliang jump scare, ear rapes. I remember this as well. So midway through it, in case we were falling asleep, Li Jingliang eats the fuck out of his microphone when he's speaking into it, by the way. Hello! He screams hello. Hello. Fucking hell. I don't know why I did that. Hello. He screams hello into the microphone and just ear rapes the entire fucking audio. Sends it into chaos. Just screams. And you can hear the whole mic cracking up, just deafening the arena with like an Asian jump scare. A real banzai of a question. And so that took the whole fucking press conference by storm. And then what was this? Li Jingliang holds us hostage for 6 minutes of Mandarin yapping. Li Jingliang, the fucking Mandarin Marab over here, just literally held the whole conference hostage for about 5 minutes of Zhang Weili Mandarin questions, where Zhang Weili would say, "Am I ready?" And that would be a response to like a 5-minute question that she had been asked in Mandarin. So that was kind of interesting. And then Strickland says not to give the mic back to the Chinese guy because, he was speaking for us all. They were yapping for a long time. And Dana actually laughed at that as well. Dana asked to rate Strickland's mustache, and he moves on. It's a weird mustache. I don't know what kind of look he's going for, man. Nina's ruining him, I tell you. I don't know if you guys saw what I put on Twitter earlier, but Strickland was reading a live comment section to him, and they were asking him about me, and he tried to answer, and Nina covered the camera and told him, and shut him up. So Nina's ruining our fucking Sean Strickland, dude. It's pissing me off. Other than that, some guy went up there with an Australian newspaper that was like, I've got the post here. The UFC just put it on their Instagram. The Daily newspaper of Australia has this article out. In Sydney yesterday, the UFC's biggest imbecile. This is the Daily Telegraph Sport in Australia. How gay this country is. Said UFC's biggest imbecile. In Sydney yesterday, UFC fighter Sean Strickland said Aussies are English white trash. That's a compliment these days. That it really is. These days, that's a fucking compliment for the boys. Let's just say the least. Called our gun laws pathetic. Went on a racist tirade and dared our government to ban him. Will someone please knock this guy out? That was the front and center headline. You know what? He's being given a standing ovation in Australia. It's kind of insane that that's what the newspaper's narrative is on Strickland. Meanwhile, the whole crowd of Australians is literally listening to him say these things about them and cheering it and roaring because loud equals amazing to an Australian crowd, I guess. But that's kind of an interesting side-by-side that I noticed when they brought up that newspaper. The people are cheering Strickland whatever he says. Yet that's how, the media would perceive that's what they think people want to see. You know what I mean? It's an interesting one. Trashes Chimaev, Chechnyan. I don't like any of this, by the way. I might make a whole fucking video on it. Calls Chimaev Chechnyan whore, bends over for Kadyrov. Crypto scams. Listen, crypto scams, I get it. Weak central nervous system, I get it. Soy immune system. Whatever you want to say about Chimaev when it comes to all that, say it. This whole thing about, going after Chimaev for his stuff with Kadyrov. Brother, he's a Chechnyan. Kadyrov's a fucking dictator of his country. Not country, but region. It's so easy for an American from California to say all this. You know what I mean? If you were born in Chimaev's situation, the pressure he would have to fulfill whatever Kadyrov wanted as well is absolutely what would have gone down. Like, I don't know why Strickland has this thing against Chimaev and the Kadyrov thing. It's such an unfair thing for an American to yap about on some kind of, like, pedestal. You know what I mean? So I don't like any of that. But he went off for about 5 minutes about Kadyrov and all of this stuff and how he lets Kadyrov's son beat him up. Like, brother, he's a fucking... He'll kill him if he doesn't. You know what I mean? It's not, you know, throwing a fucking drink at Donald Trump. Like, sure, you'd get in fucking shit tons of trouble. That's not the best fucking example to say. But, like, it's not like Trump tells you to do something, you disobey. You'll probably be heralded as a fucking hero in American society. You know what I mean? It's not the same, Strickland. So he keeps going off on that. And whenever he does, I'm like, oh, shut up, man. There's no choice for Chimaev. You know, even if he's out of Chechnya, he's got his family back there. You know what I mean? And they're not out. So if he doesn't go along with stuff, he's just leaving. Does he want to piss off the very ruthless babysitter of his whole family in that region? It's kind of a... I don't like that when Strickland goes off on that type of shit because I think it's unfair. Strickland trashes Australia, talks women making sandwiches again. And they're cheering this, but they're also getting a bit like, all right, Sean, enough now. He kept going for a long time on his monologue. He's going to go to war for you fucking guys. To the fucking death. And he's an American Marab, is what Sean Strickland was the equivalent of at some points. What makes me manly? He goes on an emotional thing about how much he values the people in the crowd. Some guy trashed him in the crowd whenever that question was brought up, and the whole crowd ganged up on that one guy in the crowd who I guess thought he was speaking for him. He gave a heartfelt speech. Sean asked about staph infection at the end. He does have staph. That is important to take away from this. And that's very bad for Sean Strickland because his style doesn't help. He needs to not have staph infection for his style. You know what I mean? And he said, I fucking give staph. I don't fucking get it. He has it on his arm. He's not a finisher. If he goes for a finish early, he'll leave himself more susceptible to getting chinned by DDP. And if he wants to play this by trying to break DDP later on with staph infection, that's really fucking tough to do. So I worry for Strickland in this fight. It seems like I'm a lot more confident in my DDP pick now. And yeah, that staph infection is mainly the main takeaway from this whole thing. But yeah. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. I stayed up until fucking 8 a.m. Goodbye. See ya.